Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
No, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I
man.
think so.
Hearts and minds. Hearts and minds this.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby.
Welcome, welcome. Yes, I am the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. Going to get into a few things today. It's going to be a quick show. Going to be a good one. Going to be talking about basically what people are talking about a little bit. I want to weigh in on the Ralph Yarl situation, as well as I want to talk about some of these expert. A therapist / expert, a sex expert, and how she's appalled at what's going on in society, bringing about what you hate, crazy stuff. A couple things I'm going to get into, as well as your calls, 888-775-3773 if you want to jump in on the line. But before we get started, share, follow, follow, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter, Gorgonzola, right up here if you need the spelling. Yes, we're going to get down here. Hake asking, what did Donning Armour say in that intro? He said I was white. If you might remember a past Nick stream I did, Donning Armour was saying he considers me white, and I'm white. I don't purity spiral. I consider you white. So I'm too black for the whites and too white for the blacks, or something like that. So we're going to get into all that. Thank you for all being here. Awesome stuff. I think you can hear me in both ears. Great stuff. It's interesting how people are, huh? And I don't mean this as out of spite or anything, but those are some scuffed shows. Only sound in one ear, but everyone's real nice to me. They're like, oh, that's a good show. Otherwise, though, I am grateful. And let me get right into what I want to get into in the time that we have. The Yarls. We was Yarls. Okay, I'm just playing around. I think that just means like Danish king. What is a Jarl? Throwing around words. A Norse or Danish chief. Okay. We was Yarls. Too soon? He's not dead. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Griffin. That's cool. That's a new name in the chat. Very nice. Like I said, follow, subscribe, and all that, so that you can be in touch with what I'm up to. People fighting about what race I am. Who knows? He ambiguous. But you have already, by this point, heard plenty about this situation in Kansas and Missouri. And now this Andrew Lester, the 84-year-old man, has been charged with the first-degree assault and armed criminal action, which are felonies, in the shooting of this Ralph Yarl. Okay? And there is just ramping up debate and talk about this. It's the news cycle. So it is, in a sense, a little bit distracting from you could say, more serious topics that require attention. because there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. There's a lot changing. And this focus on Ralph Yarl, the shooting, racism, and all that can be quite a distraction sometimes. But see, this whole thing, this whole situation is not about Ralph Yarl. It's not about the parents. It's not about the person shot. It's not even about Andrew Lester, the one who did the shooting. It's not about any of that for most people. It really is, in a way, a proxy to fight out things that they have been wondering and mad about for a while, things that have been festering. And we'll get to your calls. I see you guys calling and dropping. What the? Who's out there? But yes, it is a proxy to have their fight, their ideological fight. Right? So anyways, we already have now celebrities, activists, the president, the vice president coming out and joining what they're calling a national outcry of support. And they're all calling for justice for this teen, Ralph Yarl. You've already seen some of this. Biden even invited him to the White House. So when you get better, we'll see you at the Oval Office. Kamala Harris getting in on it as well. See if I could do this. Oh, look, I could do this on my own. I'm on my lonesome. Look, I can ride with no hands. Look at that. I could throw a pics on the screen. Profesh. Anyways, getting ahead of myself. Got a little tweet in front. It's just Kamala Harris saying, Doug and I are praying for Ralph Yarl and his family as he fights for his life. Let's be clear, no child should ever live in fear of being shot for ringing the wrong doorbell. Every child deserves to be safe. That's the America we're fighting for. And that's just kind of the spirit and energy behind what's this whole story right now, especially from all the way to the top in the Oval Office. And they're all calling for justice. They want justice. They want this and that. But you can hear them say justice. Let me see. Here's the pic. You see these, you got protesters out. They have everyone out in full force. I'd like to know if this was a group. I couldn't find who was behind this protest. Maybe it was really just truly grassroots, just the community coming together, which I wouldn't be surprised because the community is brainwashed. The community is angry. And you see them here with this sign, Justice for Ralph. Justice for Ralph. But this whole thing is not about justice. It's not about Ralph. And it's not about Lester. It's not about, actual victims of crime. It's not about actual stuff. It's a proxy war. You got them saying, where's the pic? No white vigilantism. They got signs out there with saying no white vigilantism. And I'm showing you those signs because it's a real divorce of reality. No white vigilantism. Like as if this man was just out looking to, protect his community, out there looking for criminals. I mean, the story goes that he went to the wrong house. And the man shot out of what he says was fear for his safety. Celebrities, everybody. Well, at least a lot of people. Enough people to make noise. It's just so, this story is important for a couple of reasons. And I'll get to that in a second here, but like I said, there's people out here protesting, and in this next clip, I'm going to show you a little of the protest. You'll see this police chief, Stacey Graves, female police chief. Significant as well, because females are emotional, very commonly err on the side of emotion. And as professional as this woman may be, 25 years in the force apparently, did some pretty, was given a medal for shooting someone who had stolen a, fellow officers of hers gun. She was in the force for a while. Anyways, if you look into her a little bit, she was promoted and made responsible for the department's human resources unit. Already you get kind of an idea of what she was in charge of. Later on, she became a supervisor in internal affairs. And she was known for recently coordinating a department program to assign social workers. And we've heard a little bit about that, where they want social workers instead of police officers arriving to scenes of domestic scenes and other things like that, suicide. She was previously served on the board for the Rose Brooks Center, which helps victims of domestic abuse. Which is fine, right? It's all, you got to help them or whatever. But it means it kind of paints the picture for her a little bit. What she's about. So this female police chief, in this clip, you hear her talking, and she's saying that we were really showing a lot of emotion, if you will. In fact, let's roll the clip.
This child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard to make sure there is justice.
You do have a police department that is listening, that cares, and we take all of these cases seriously.
Hundreds took to the streets demanding the shooter's arrest.
This should not be the fate of black children.
The family hopeful for a full recovery.
A little funny cropping there. It's just a square over me. You can see me in the background, but you can see the clip. And you saw her, right? She's saying, we really care, right? Showing that emotion, okay? Which is really the driving motivation for a lot of the people out there. Not reality. And this same emotion, you're seeing it in anybody responding to this. Pretty much anybody. I mean, you got celebrities like Halle Berry saying his name is Ralph, his name was hashtag Ralph Yarl. He's not dead. And I am sick and tired of this feeling. My heart completely broke when I learned this precious 16-year-old who accidentally rang the doorbell of the wrong address was shot in the head. This is why you have no business commenting on these things, because if your heart is going to break when commenting on this, then you're not going to see reality. You're going to add to the division. Kerry Washington, who's that even? I'm talking about this person, I don't even know who that is. Kerry Washington, some kind of actress or something like that, giving in her 2 cents. Her 2 cents right here. Where do I got that? Well, she tweeted, she's saying, instead of waiting around, make a phone call. Demand that Prosecutor Zachary Thompson makes an arrest and bring the appropriate charges. And she gives out a number to call in and demand this of the prosecutor. And there you have it. There you pretty much have it. It's not about justice. Because if it was about justice, you would let it play out. The law enforcement is involved, the attorneys, all that. You would let it play out. But this is the reason she wants you to call and demand is because she doesn't trust the system. She doesn't trust the way things go, that it would go correctly. And this story, this whole Ralph Yarl thing is really putting on display how people are feeling about the country. People, both sides, don't trust the system and for justice to be carried out, for due process to be carried out. This story is also put on display the grievances the races have against each other, and all that. So this Clay County prosecuting attorney, Zach Thompson, took some questions from the media. And you may have even heard this already. racial component. They keep repeating this thing about racial component. And they keep saying that and saying that, okay? There's a racial component to this. There's a racial component to this. And you're going to hear this, Zachary Thompson, being asked by the media about this racial component here.
Was there a racial component to this case, Howard?
As the prosecutor of Clay County, I can tell you there was a racial component to the case.
Can you elaborate?
I'm not sure. I mean, what do you mean?
Was anything said that made you believe that this was a racially motivated shooting?
Sure. Everyone here, we've made copies of the probable cause statement to hand out to members of the press. There is no indication of anything like that within the probable cause statement.
There is no indication of that in the probable cause statement. I don't know if you heard that clip. Might have been a little low, but he's talking to the press, and they asked him about this racial component. And he's saying, yes, there is. As the prosecutor, I could say there is a racial component. Of course, there was a criminal complaint that was given out to the press and, publicly, which I read through as well. And like he said, there's no indication of this racial component in the complaint, but he's just saying there is. And people just latched onto this. You have already heard callers on the JLP show, on the Hake Report, decrying this as a man who just saw black skin and wanted to shoot. Taking sides. This story also has put on display the importance of not taking sides. Why, I'll tell you in a moment here, but I did read this criminal complaint. And before I get into that, you guys saw that clip with the Clay County prosecutor? He doesn't seem like a, solid. In just that clip, he's sweating as much as I do when Jesse asked me a tough question. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust that guy to just say, no, there was no racial component in the face of the mob. And yeah, the media is the mob as well. And I read this criminal complaint. It's out there. New York Times put it out. You can read it. And it says quite the opposite. Andrew Lester said, it was the last thing he wanted to do, but he was scared to death due to the male's size and Lester's age, 84, and inability to defend himself. He believed he was protecting himself from a physical confrontation and could not take the chance of the male coming in. Lester was visibly upset and repeated concern for the victim. I mean, those are details that matter. Those are details that are being ignored. Clay County prosecutor released Lester pending further investigation, et cetera, et cetera. But it's the racial component that they're focusing on because this story is a proxy for that taking sides thing, that fight that's going on, that's been going on and festering for a long time, the division between the races. And emotion, it's all emotion. Ralph Yarl shedding buckets of tears, this PBS article did. Buckets of tears. This shooting outraged many residents, civic and political leaders. No parent should have to worry about their kid. But it's a dangerous world out there. I guess you shouldn't have to worry, but it's you're making a promise that is not possible. A promise of never worrying about danger. Thompson said Monday that there was a racial component. This is buried in this PBS article. Thompson said Monday there was a racial component to the shooting. He did not elaborate, but Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Alexander Higginbotham clarified in an email to the Associated Press on Tuesday that there is not a racial element to the legal charges that were filed. Can we get a undo button for the media, for the press? Anybody going to apologize? Anybody going to take it back? But people aren't going to care about that. They're going to care about the reporting, the press, the attorney, what people say, because this whole thing has already been tried. In the court of public opinion? Is that fair to say in this case? Am I misusing that expression? The people have already taken their sides. So these Missouri officials here saying there's a racial component to all this, despite what I just showed you, they're gung-ho in this racial talk.
2 shots were fired, but this is key, through a glass door. And so presumably this man, 85-year-old Andrew D. Lester, could see Ralph Yarl on the other side of that glass door before opening fire. And again, it gets to what you and I were talking about just before that press conference. Under Missouri law, this all comes down to reasonableness. Now, in order to use deadly force, you have to have 2 things. You have to have a reasonable belief that the subject of your force poses an imminent threat, and you have to reasonably believe that your deadly force is necessary to stop that threat. And of course, the question here is, it is not illegal to walk up to someone's door, to ring a doorbell, or to knock on a door.
I think one of the things that stands out to me is that there is a racial component to this case. We've been hearing that from Ralph's family. We've been hearing that from the attorneys representing that family, that they believe that this was racially motivated, that this 85-year-old white man purposely shot at Ralph Yarl without any justification, simply because he was a young African-American boy.
Sergeant Dorsey, when you hear the prosecutor there talking about that racial component, how much do you think that was a factor?
Well, certainly it was a factor, but I mean, I would imagine they didn't think that they could prove that, and so they only want to bring those charges that they believe that they can prove. We undoubtedly believe that this old white man looked out his window, saw a young black kid, and decided that black skin somehow was an imminent threat. He certainly, while he didn't have a duty to retreat, if he was really fearful, he could have. I mean, he's inside. The so-called imminent threat is outside. And so it's not reasonable to believe that deadly use of force was necessary. And so
they just shot him because of his black skin. And it's truly evil, the destruction of reality that's happening right in front of us, that's really been happening, but really another pillar of just basic reality is just crumbling. 2 + 2, men and women, everything. Anything goes. The bottom has fallen out, okay? And you hear them talking about reasonable there too. They mentioned the castle ground thing, stand your ground thing. And I'm not saying this man, that it was justified what he did. He shot Ralph Yarl. Whether it was a justified or unjustified shoot, that's going to be, fought out in court and all that. Doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like, from what I could tell, it doesn't seem like Ralph Yarl meant any harm in that way from what we could tell. We don't know all the details, but it seems like he really was just trying to pick up his, he went to the wrong house, trying to pick up his siblings, and the man shot him. Maybe he should have waited. Maybe he should have, just waited a little bit to see if he really was a threat. I don't know. But that should be the fight. That should just be the fight right there. It's like, okay, well, was it a justified shoot or not? But no, it's not about that situation. It's a proxy for something more. But it's funny that they bring up, reasonable. The whole case is about reasonable. Was it reasonable to think that he feared for his safety? And they're going to argue it out in court and say, well, he shot from the inside. He shot through a glass door so he could see him. And for those reasons, it was not reasonable to believe that he's was afraid. They're going to say, might even add this racial component. Say, well, he saw black skin, and black skin is not an imminent threat. But that's just not true. I mean, if you think about it in just terms of reasonable, in fact, it's quite reasonable to believe that someone, a stranger at your front door, with black skin, sometimes black skin is an imminent threat, okay? Was possibly someone there for not so savory reasons, okay? You should shoot him in the leg, or you should let him come in. You should let them break in before you defend yourself. Well, You're 84 years old. You don't realize, people don't realize it's not that easy to shoot a moving target, okay? And when you get the drop on someone, that's as safe as you can be, right? I'm not here saying you should be just shooting people like that, but I wasn't there. And people just completely ignore that reality, the reality that we're living in. People completely pretend like we don't see all these Ring doorbell videos. And maybe not all of you. Maybe you guys aren't plugged into the Matrix, okay? But I'm watching, and it's all these Ring doorbell videos of black individuals being filmed by these, you know, those Ring doorbell security cameras that people have installed. And it's just, and there'll be like a guy just standing out there ringing like, hey, are you home? And they're holding like Uzis. They're not even just little handguns. They're holding like, you know what I mean? Full automatics. Pretty dangerous stuff. Pretending like we don't see all that. Pretending like there wasn't just another home invasion in Las Vegas. Just saw this too. I literally just saw this. 4 accused in robbery spree. Allegedly forced woman's head underwater. Las Vegas couple bound and tortured in violent mansion robbery. I saw Mike Cernovich tweet. I wonder if Biden is going to invite this couple to the White House. It's all interested groups, interested people for their own gain. It's not about Ralph Yarl. It's not about Andrew Lester. and of course, I have to talk a little bit about this Lee Merritt guy. Okay, you know him probably from the, Ahmaud Arbery stuff. He's appeared alongside families, you know, in front of the media. Just like Benjamin Crump, another, you know, ambulance chasers. They call them civil rights attorneys. And you're going to see in this clip Lee Merritt and the family a little bit. And you're going to see him talking about how this was murder. He says he wonders why they didn't charge the man with murder. And you're going to see this Lee Merritt selling out the justice system for his own agenda to call it murder like that. You have to understand, sometimes, you know, terms and words matter. Okay, they at least used to matter to the decent America, white people, and anyone who, not just whites, but really just anyone who wanted a decent society. I'm talking in a past sense because it almost feels like it's over sometimes. But words and terms matter. Murder, to call it murder like that, when at worst it was mistaken, just unjustifiable shoot that carries its own, you know, punishment and all that. Due punishment where it's necessary, right? These things matter, and you're gonna see him sell that out. In fact, let me just.
He's doing considerably well. Physically,
you know,
mornings are hard, but his spirits are in a good place.
Well, we're not quite sure why attempted murder wasn't one of the charges, and we want to explore that a little further. We're looking forward to speaking with federal prosecutors and investigators to see if this family's civil rights were violated.
Our investigation has revealed that this is a predominantly white neighborhood, commonly referred to among locals as God's country, which is a title that's supposed to reflect the conservative nature of the area and also the heavy law enforcement presence in terms of housing and living in the area. We've heard reports from Black people who live in the neighborhood or who visit the neighborhood that there seems to be a standing hostility towards Black presence in that community, including from Ralph's family himself.
So you heard him sell out the justice system and reality, really. Calling for murder. Am I wrong? Am I dumb in thinking that? Like, maybe I got legal terms wrong, but that's maybe homicide or something? I should probably look that up. But it doesn't sound like murder. And and you heard him also bring up that they call themselves God's country, that there's our investigation found it's a predominantly white society, neighborhood, and that the black people we talk to say there's hostility to black presence. It feels like, and I could be wrong, but it feels like there's a hostility, or you could call it hostility, or you could call it just inability to relax around black presence. That very well may be true, but they just ignore. It's a complete ignoring of what's going on. And I even heard just Hake say it in his show, that that's part of the attack. That's part of the attack, is to ignore those things and get people riled up, lie in their faces to get them to go crazy. They is white people and anybody who wants a decent world, really. And I'm watching these people there, right? They're doing the Gayle King interview. They have to do the Gayle King interview. And I'm watching them. Like, what do they want? What is the express course of action that they want to see happen? Because it's not clear. Andrew Lester has been charged. The attorneys are involved. The prosecutor's involved. Charges are coming down. I'm sure court stuff is going to happen. So what is it that they want? What is the express, clear course of action that they want? Isn't justice happening? And so from this, we see that people agree. Both sides, all sides, really, they agree that things aren't working. Whatever side you are. This story proves that people don't trust the system, right? To the point they need to demand and have it do what they wanted to do. So it's not, and this story is also significant because, like I said, it's not about Ralph Yarl. It's not about Lester. This is a proxy fight, okay? This is a way for people to try and prove their worldview. It keeps people in their bubbles, in their sides. And we all do that. We all kind of build this bubble around us, listening to our own shows, listening to our own views. You know what I'm saying? It's fuel for those signs. This is why black people this, or why white people that. And what does a racial component have at all to do with this situation? Either he shot him justifiably or not. And that would be left up to the courts. Ralph Yarl was shot because he was armed with nothing but other than his black skin. You have to be, you really are, you have to be, if you saying racial component to this story, you're an idiot. You really are. And I mean that in the sense of that you're being controlled. You're just repeating what people want you to say, and you're advancing an agenda that you may not even realize you're advancing. So if you say anything like that, you are truly stupid and a useful idiot. That's pretty much what's going on here, because it's all divide and conquer. It's divide and conquer and take sides. There's no, it really is not at all about the actual situation. Because if it was about justice, if it was about anything like that, it would be left up to the people involved. That's why it's so interesting, the whole don't take sides thing. Because if you took sides, then you would have to defend Andrew Lester. Oh, he shot him because he feels afraid. And we see all these videos and stuff about black people. I mean, of course, why wouldn't he be afraid? He should be allowed to shoot him. But then you would also miss the point that maybe it wasn't justified. You guys are probably seeing my background. It just changed. Joel Friday is encroaching on my show here. Somehow my background changed. Anchor Baby can't even have his own show. What the? But check out Joel Friday while if you'll allow me here a moment, while I grab the remote to change this. I can't have this like this. Follow Joel Friday, please, but I can't leave it like this. What a mess. So anyways, that's what I got to say about that. And I do have some calls here. I might as well take it while I change the background to this. I got Mark from Los Angeles wants to weigh in on this. Go ahead, Mark. I got you on the air.
Yes, sir. Great show, Nick.
Thank you, sir.
What I'd like to do, first of all, I wanted to say that Mr. Lester is being persecuted because he's white and he fought back. They don't want any white resistance in any form. When I say they, I'm speaking about the Negroes that are protesting and the scum in Chicago, the savages who beat that white couple and that white woman. Where's the cry of racism there? Where's the feds? It's a double standard of justice. These people, Nick, are only 400 years out of the jungle. And we're going to hand the country over to them? We're doomed. Did you see these scoundrels in Tennessee? You know, the ones
Before we move on to Tennessee, I'm hearing you out here, Mark. And you're saying they don't want any white resistance. I want you to tell me, what about Andrew Lester's situation is white resistance?
He shot someone he felt was breaking into his home. He's an old man. I think he did the right thing. Well, I don't know the whole story, but just from the outset, it sounds like he did the right thing. The man trespassed on his property. Maybe that was an accident, maybe not. But the fact is, the people, the lynch mob that wants to go after him, to me, they're more dangerous than anything out of China, anything out of Russia. They're domestic terrorists. And the man that did the Delbert comics, Scott Adams, what they should do is run his words and his interview, and in the background show the black on white violence that's everywhere. I think that would be beautiful.
And some of what you're saying, it makes sense in the macro sense with what's going on politically and the races and all that. But in this situation here, man, Mark, with Andrew Lester and all that, I think the whole racial thing is really making it confusing for people on both sides, honestly. Let's take it like this. What if Andrew Lester, if some mailman came up, had nothing, let's just say white mailman came up to his door and he felt, he thought it was a break-in or whatever, and he shot this mailman. And the mailman was just trying to deliver the mail. Would you say he did the right thing?
Well, no, the mailman's dressed up. I mean, he's dressed up as a mailman. He has a right to be on that property. But he didn't see, in this hypothetical, he didn't see that he was wearing a mailman suit, mailman uniform, and just thought, oh, I'm in danger. This person's trying to break in. Okay, I would say this. Maybe if that's what you want to argue, my counter argument would be, well, maybe he didn't see that the boy was a Negro.
What'd you say?
If we're going to believe that he couldn't see the mailman's uniform, then let's back up a minute. Maybe he didn't know the boy was a Negro.
Yeah. Don't jump ahead. I'm not making any argument here. I just want to know if you would think in that hypothetical, would Andrew Lester have been doing the right thing?
Not if he shot a mailman. Absolutely not.
And why not?
That would not be the right thing.
Why would it not be the right thing?
Well, two reasons. One, the mailman has the right to be on his property. He's delivering mail. Number two, he wears a uniform. Now, if you want to try to say that Mr. Lester didn't see the uniform, that could be settled in court.
Okay.
But by the same token, if he uses the argument he didn't know the boy was Negro, that could be disputed in court. But I'm telling you, there's two reasons your argument fails. The mailman has a right to be there. The Negro didn't. The mailman has a uniform on that identifies him as who he is. And I think that ends that argument right there.
But in both cases, it was a case of mistaken threat. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what I'm trying to point out here.
The mailman is not making a threat when he delivers your mail.
And neither was, from what we could tell, Ralph Yarl.
Well, according to Mr. Lester, he was pushing on the door. Now, if you want to side with the other team and say, well, we don't know that, well, we don't know that. That's the point here.
This is why this is a good call, because it's not about siding with the team. It's just reality is reality. And if Andrew Lester shot Ralph Yarl, because he thought he was being threatened. That's one thing, but then there's still the reality that Ralph Yarl wasn't doing that. And you can understand someone for feeling threatened. You can understand because of the climate and because of how black crime is minimized, how it's out of control. You can understand why someone could feel that way, but they still shouldn't have shot someone who was not threatening. Is that at least true, or is that crazy?
Well, I'm just going to, I don't know. Here's what I think. The guy came to his door uninvited. He had no right to be on his property. And if Mr. Lester is telling the truth, and I tend to believe him because I don't think he's got a criminal record. That hasn't come out yet. But he's 84 years old. Let's assume he doesn't have a criminal record. Okay? That means we should take, in my view, that would be a plus on Mr. Lester's side. This whole thing shouldn't even be in court.
Okay.
This man was defending his property, and they're going to make a racial issue out of it because they hate whites. And
yeah, they're making it a racial thing, but let's say there was no racial thing confusing the whole thing, and Andrew Lester shot someone. Would there be any punishment for accidentally shooting someone you thought was threatening you? Is that wrong? Shooting someone you thought was threatening you, and in fact they weren't. Would you be? Well, should you be like? I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is like, is there any, justifiable punishment for that? Because yeah, accidents happen, but this accident shot someone. Am I making sense?
Right. I see what you mean.
And it feels like everyone wants to make this a racial. Right? It's clear that they want to make this a racial thing against whites. But it's so easy to do that on the other side as well, and take a side.
I don't see it the
and
other
take a
way.
side with Andrew
How
Lester.
are we making it
when
a
you
thing
should just
against
not take
blacks?
a side at all. You should just let the law play out, even though we can't trust that either, since they're making this a racial thing.
Right.
But doesn't that make some sense, not taking a side like that? Because now it's like, I see here, for example, here on the call screening thing where you called in, it says, we need to make a martyr out of Lester. And that sounds like what you want to be done. When it's just a situation of a man who felt threatened and he shot this Ralph Yarl, and that's what happened. And then whatever fallout has to happen from that should happen, and that's it. Period.
Then let me ask you this: if it's true that the boy tried to push his way in, which is what Mr. Lester is saying, should he be convicted at all? Wouldn't that be a mitigating factor?
That would be a quite interesting factor if he was trying to go into the property, because that's another big part of this whole case. I don't think he said that he went into the property. Lester said he tried to open the door.
He tried to.
Right. Okay, fair enough. And so that's another component to this whole thing. That is, they're saying, he did not enter the property, and they're saying he didn't attempt to do so. So that's why it's
How would they know? How would they know whether he tried to break in or not?
I don't think you can, unless it's a he said, she said situation.
Well, then we have to let Mr. Lester go.
Like someone in the chat just said, which is really what I'm trying to say here. Can't you call out the race baiting without taking a side and saying, well, this person was completely in the right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can call out the race baiting without taking this racial side.
I don't know. All I could say is, if the man wasn't white, they wouldn't even be going after him. And I think you know that.
That's a fair point.
The whole world, they're making a racial issue out of it. It's all about get whitey.
Okay, and you're right, and I reported on that. I just did that on my reporting. But I'm interested in you, Mark. You want to make a martyr out of this, Lester, and I don't know if that's helpful to the situation.
Okay, well, they made martyrs out of those two creeps in Tennessee. After they got expelled, they made martyrs out of them, and Kamala Harris went over there to endorse them. They've made martyrs out of BLM, and how many key people have they killed? You're never going to get fairness from the other side.
That's a fair point. It's not good. They're not going to be fair. They know what they're doing. They're relentless the left is relentless in their approach, and they're not playing fair. That's for sure. But that's not what I'm even talking about. It's just kind of you, as a person and white people, making a martyr out of Lester. Just doesn't sound right. That just doesn't sound right. He had his situation. We should just be calling out the race baiting that's going on, and they're trying to turn this into a racial component and all that.
Well, right before you picked up my call, you mentioned about a couple, I believe, now I may be off on some of what you said. I tried to listen up. They were tortured. A white couple was tortured in Vegas by these savages. Okay, then why isn't that racial? Why isn't that a race hate crime? And furthermore, if that old man hadn't shot and the Negro would have got in there and killed this man, would that have made it better? Would that have made the colored people less angry?
No, it wouldn't.
Or would it have actually made them happy? I don't know.
I'm just saying you don't know that. I'm just saying you don't know that's what Ralph Yarl wanted to do.
Well, we would have never even known it. If that dude would have came in there and killed Mr. Lester, it wouldn't have even made news.
I think you're right about what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, reality still matters to me, okay? And even if there's race baiting and liars, I just can't lie like that and be like, well, Ralph Yarl wanted to go in and kill him. What if he wanted to go in and kill him? Like, we don't know that. So to me, I don't know, maybe this is dumb, but to me, reality still matters, and the reality is we don't know that.
Well, okay, I think
That's
one
still an
thing that I
important
hope
thing to
comes out.
That's all I'm saying.
What? I'm sorry. I just want to say one thing that I think will come out, I hope it does, is what this Mr. Lester's record is. My guess is he's probably never been convicted of a crime. I don't know. That's just a guess. But I think that's a mitigating factor here, too. The man's innocent. He's probably a veteran on top of it. What with this kid that he shot? What's his background? Let's get into his background.
I don't know. They keep showing video, pictures of him in school being a little chemist or
I know he was
being a musician
angel,
or something.
Just like the guy in Florida.
He was a little what?
No, I know he's a little angel. I said.
Oh, angel. Yeah,
like okay, the guy
but it's
in
just
Florida.
so easy to say that, like, because we've seen this time and time again, where they'll show some black criminal resisted arrest or something, and they get shot or something, and then all the media does is show this high school picture of them and paint him out to be an angel. It's so easy to look at this situation and be like, that's what they're doing here. It could very well be Ralph Yarl was just, what was he, 16? And he really was just, hey, I'm just a 16-year-old black kid trying to pick up my siblings. Nick,
don't you remember?
You got to stick to reality, because that's, in my opinion, and I could be wrong about this, but in my opinion, that's part of the attack as well. To get people like you, to get white people to ignore reality and be like, see, look, they're just trying to paint him out like an angel, so that you look like, so that when it comes out that he's just a 16-year-old boy or whatever, that you got egg on your face now and see, look at these white racists. They're always trying to paint us this way, and it keeps the division going. To me, truth still matters, and so I don't know if I'm off base saying that, but I feel like that's my opinion. I feel like I'm right about that.
Sure. Remember the Zimmerman case in Florida, where the security guard shot the bad guy? Remember how, I forget the bad guy's name, but they kept showing pictures of him like he was smiling, the all-American boy.
Right.
And we saw what he was. We got his record. He was a criminal. And Zimmerman is another martyr. Okay? So that's why maybe I jumped the gun on calling Lester a martyr. I guess we'll find out how this shakes out.
We'll see.
But, pardon?
Exactly. No. We'll see.
Yeah, but and from what
if you've been watching me at all, I'm not gonna go along with any anti-white, like, racial stuff here. I'm just that, for me, reality still kind of matters, even though it's all falling apart around us.
Oh, exactly. But what scares me is that if present trends continue with the open border and all the colored people that are coming through it, Eventually, they're going to vote for people like those two SOBs that they threw out of the Tennessee state representative thing. That's the kind of people they're going to vote for. And then America ends. And I'm saying this again, just to let you know, our enemies are not foreign. Well, there are foreign enemies, but the biggest problem is domestic. And
That's
it's with
true.
these civil rights people.
The enemy within.
They're the real enemies of America.
Yep.
It's everything they've passed in the last 60 years has been unconstitutional. From the Voting Rights Act to the Civil Rights Act, it's all led to where we're at today.
Truly,
And
it has.
I
It's
don't think
been.
we're going to be around in 10 years to talk about it, if not sooner. They're coming in by the millions, and they're voting for the people that let them break in.
It's crazy when you
And
really
I'm
look
not
into
trying
it.
to jump subjects here. All I'm saying is it's a racial thing, and if the white man doesn't wake up, we're doomed. And I think everybody knows it, including them. They know it. They're gleeful about it. They're gleeful about it. When you saw the Chicago rioters over the weekend, they didn't look hungry and oppressed. They had smiles on their faces while they were attacking whites and tearing up civilization. Like Tucker Carlson said the other night, we're looking at the collapse of civilization right in front of us.
Man,
and I would.
You're just not. You're not even wrong. You're not even wrong about some of what you're saying, Mark. I just think that white people need to wake up to. If there's anything they need to wake up to, it's anger. That's what this whole bond network is about too. Waking people up to that, and it is a lot of what you're saying is true. But ultimately, they need to wake up to that because if you don't wake up to anger, you will get goaded into getting angry or jumping the gun on this or that thing, and you will just be doing the bidding of the very people that you're saying are, our enemies and bringing about the destruction of America. You'll be doing their bidding if you don't pay attention.
Right.
In this case,
but the thing is, I don't know how we're going to reverse this. What's being done at the border is irreversible damage to this country. We never voted on it. We never wanted it.
Yep.
And yet here it is. And I just want to say this. Any of your black racist callers that call in, ask them what black country they would prefer to live in.
I think some of them are on hold. I might be able to ask them here in a moment.
Yeah, ask them to
Thanks,
find
Mark.
a black country that's suitable for them. They can't. Well, they'll probably lie because they're great at that. But these black Hebrews won't get out of here. They're going to complain about Whitey, but they stay.
It really. I don't want to be judging, but it just sounds like it's just dripping out of your voice, disdain for them. And I don't know about you. I like when they call.
I love Jesse Lee Peterson.
I don't feel that disdain or anger when they call black callers. I like when they call.
No, the ones that are always saying they're going to turn us into slaves.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know who they are.
Is. But watch yourself, Mark. Watch your own show. But I really do appreciate your call, man, and I don't even disagree.
God bless you.
For sure. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. A lot of people are feeling a lot about this topic. In fact, I got the lines full here. 888-775-3773. I guess we'll do a little bit of a longer show. I mean, we got some calls to get to, and I got one more thing I want to get to before we, wrap her up. American Anchor Baby, thank you. I got Max Smiles here with a super chat. That's awesome. You can super chat here on YouTube. Or if you go into the description and you don't want to give money to YouTube, you can super chat through Streamlabs. Max Smiles says, racial component this, racial component that. To those who are asleep, that's the buzzword to induce the trance. Also, where should this man escape to further into his house? The audacity. Yeah. People have like a real, fantasy view of firearms and defense and how physical altercations go. People don't realize that if someone has a knife, for example, and you have a gun put away in a holster, if they're, I forget the exact distance, but it's just like a meter or so, they can close that distance and harm you before you ever take out your gun. They don't realize how hard it is to shoot a moving target. And I've done a little bit of shooting myself. I know a little bit. It's not the easiest thing. You'll point and you'll think you got it all lined up, and then you shoot and you look at the target, and this target was like 25 meters away. And I'm like, it's not at all where I was pointing. And this was an unmoving target, but hey, whatever. I'm just revealing how bad at shooting I am. DH with the super chat says, first time cleaning in. Nick, have a great show, beta babe. Well, thank you, even if I am a beta babe. Broski Bear says, the American Anchor Baby is amazing. Great show. Thank you for that. In fact, I think that was from the other day, so thank you for that. Whew. Crazy stuff. Let's run through these calls a bit before I get into the next topic. I got Zeus from Florida. Oh, Zeus from Florida, go ahead.
What's up, Nick? How are you?
Welcome, Zeus. Thanks for calling. I'm fine, thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. I'm just calling about the topic that you guys were just discussing.
Yeah, please.
And I just want to say to anybody that's white or black, I don't recommend acting emotional like the last caller or like that one black guy that called at Jesse's show.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. But that's the thing. By acting this emotional, you're just playing into their hands. Like you're basically starting the race war. I understand the anger, right? But you're not supposed to have. Well, you shouldn't have anger because when you have anger, you're manipulated, just like our last caller was. And I'm not saying anything bad about him. What I'm saying is, take some time, breathe, relax. Because by getting angry like that, you're just playing into their hands. And you might as well. I mean, if people really want to get that emotional, that's fine with me. I mean, I'm going to be fine.
Right.
But America's gone, and the race war is going to start, and you're going to give them exactly what they want. So I'm just calling to encourage people, whether you're black or white, you know what I mean? I understand the frustration and anger, but you're not doing anybody any good by acting like that.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with what you say, man. Am I off base in thinking maybe I'm not understanding the law here? Maybe there's something I don't understand. But if you were to shoot someone and you thought you were under threat, that's one thing, right? And it's like, wow, I can totally understand that. But let's say you were wrong about that. Is that a crime? Is that something wrong about doing that? Or do you just say, well, it was an accident, so yeah, I don't know, pay his hospital bills or something. You know what I mean? Is there something I'm not maybe getting wrong about that?
The thing about it is, it's like Jesse said, wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let the facts be presented, because if it wasn't a black person, right, say it was a mailman, what would happen is it wouldn't be a story. It would go to court, and the facts would get played out. But because it's a black kid, teenager, whatever you want to call him, getting shot by a white person, they're pumping it up because they know it's going to make these people emotional, just like the last caller, just like that black guy that called Jesse. I don't remember his name, so I apologize for saying black guy, but you get the drift. But
for sure.
That's the thing. That's why they do this. That's why what Jesse was saying earlier, wait and see.
Oh, you're talking about Thomas, I think.
Was it Thomas? I don't remember. It was earlier
this
day.
You were saying.
Yeah. But I just think, if it was a mailman, right?
Yeah.
What would happen is the facts would get presented, and it would be a court case, and if the man was guilty and it got proven, he would be sentenced. If he was not guilty, it would be proven, and he would not be sentenced, but there would be court date. It wouldn't be everybody calling to arms right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just think.
Thank you for that, Zeus. Yeah, a little bit of light there. So appreciate that.
And the thing is, I get the emotions on both sides. I do. But that's the thing. That's what they've been playing at for all this time.
Yep.
Them getting all the blacks out of control. And let's be honest. I'm sorry, black people, but watch the news. Black people are committing crime, and it's not all. But like Jesse says, most. And the thing is, you're an 84-year-old white man. You're going to be afraid just because of what they're pumping on the news. It's not necessarily that guy is hates black people. It's just he sees it on the news.
Yep.
He sees them attacking, and he didn't stop and think. He didn't. I guess he was maybe he let his emotions get in the way.
If I was him, I might have shot as well. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. If I was him, I might have too, but I would have shot if it was a white guy. I'd have shot if it was a Chinese, because these days everybody's crazy. You know what I mean? There's crime everywhere, and it's I don't know. I just think the whole reality of it is stop being emotional, everybody.
Yeah.
Be calm.
Yeah.
Breathe. Stop making it so personal. I understand, Thomas, if that was his name, why he was emotional, right? He probably has, sons that would fit that description, or grandsons. I don't know how old he was. And so he's putting himself in that position, but it's not him in that position.
Yeah.
And him doing that is playing right into their hands. That last caller, I don't know his name. he is putting himself in the position of the 84-year-old guy, whatever his name is. I don't know his name either. And he's getting emotional because he's putting himself in that situation. But stop doing that. Relax.
That's a
Calm
good point,
down.
man.
Silent prayer. Be calm. Like, don't let the anger get you, because then they win. And when I say them, they, the elites, the matrix, whatever you want to call them. And that's why I just wanted to call and be like, yo.
The unchristian.
Relax, everybody. Also, white people, stop saying Negro. Like, it's not bad, but like you're doing it to.
What? You're telling white people not to say Negro?
Well, don't say it the way that guy was saying. He was saying it to provoke stuff, and it's just like.
Oh,
it's
you
not
think
a problem
so?
to say
You think
it.
he was just saying Negro to be provocative? But I feel
He was
like
saying
older
it
people
to be-
say Negro, and I don't know how old Mark was.
He was saying it out of anger, and that's why it's more.
Maybe, I don't know.
To elicit an emotion. He wasn't just saying like, "Hey, my Negro friend, how are you?" He was saying Negro to elicit anger out of black people.
But it shouldn't.
which-
A word like that shouldn't elicit anything. You know, that would be the.
Oh, it
That would be anybody reacting to Negro would be. You got a problem.
It shouldn't be.
And
but
you
it's
might be
your
right. Maybe
intentions
he
and the
meant
way
it
you're
to be
doing it.
provocative, and he should chill.
Well,
but I don't know.
I was listening to it, and like the stuff he was saying, I was just like, this is not helping anyone. Like, I don't care that he said it. I don't care that he said they just got out of the jungle 400 years. But what I care about is it's not helping the situation.
But you're right.
It's not helping the situation though, because sorry, black people, they're going to get emotional, and then they're going to go do something, and it's going to be you're just building you're adding gas to the fire.
Yeah, maybe.
You're not putting out the fire by acting like that, and it's not. And he's acting out of anger, and so in my opinion, I don't care. Like, I'll be honest with you, whatever happens is going to happen. It's not going to affect me because I'm going to be okay. Because all right, swear so. But I just don't. I don't see the value of getting emotional and angry about it. I don't see the value of, I don't know, if you're white, calling out black people. If you're black, calling out white people. There's no value in that. Relax, be rational human beings, and let's solve the problem. But you acting, or them acting emotional is not solving the problem.
Definitely not the emotional. I definitely agree with that.
And
Thanks,
one
Zeus.
thing I kind of want to throw out there is, like Jesse says, this is all, it's good versus evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you got someone sending out evil, right? They're sending evil towards you. How do you shut down the evil, or how do you stop it? You don't do it by sending evil back. You're growing the evil.
Yeah.
The way you do it is canceling out with light or with good, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
It's like
That's
the two devils
just
fighting.
plain true.
Yeah, if it's two devils fighting, if the devil's yelling at the one devil and the devil's yelling back, they're just powering each other up. But if you send love, well, not love, but if you send, I don't know, the opposite, you're going to de-escalate, or you're going to depower it. You're not going to give it more juice. And so I just am calling to, like, encourage people. I understand the anger, the emotions, whatever. But I'm just calling to encourage people, settle down a bit. Calm down, relax. I understand, like, I love America, yada, yada, yada. But calm down, because you getting emotional, you getting angry, whether you're black, white, brown, whatever, you're not helping. You're giving them exactly what they want. So I just would like to encourage people, do what you want, of course, but relax. Like, calm down. Stop putting yourself in a situation that's not you.
Yeah, and when you do that, you'll be able to deal with realities like Mark was bringing up. Yeah, it is. They're trying. It's an attack on whites. There's a racial problem going on or whatever. There's a focus on that. There's a lying on whites really and all that. So and then you'll be able to deal with those things correctly.
Yeah, and I felt so moved to say something. I called while I'm at work, so that's why I sound maybe a little like winded because I'm out here working.
It's no problem, Zeus. I appreciate you calling in, even though you're in the middle of work, man. Get back to work.
I just want to, definitely. I just want to say, wish everybody well. Calm down, relax. Don't feed into their game. Be above it. And do what you want, of course. But good luck, everybody. Later, Nick. I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate your call. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And he was bringing up that caller. I think it was Thomas. And my thing is more like, this is why you shouldn't take sides. It's really about this particular thing. Is just that you'll hear people go straight to, he just wanted to shoot he just wanted to shoot that fool. I'm just going to shoot that fool. And it's like, it's the assumptions of Andrew Lester's mind and heart that, for me, show how blind people are. Like you would know that. Like it's really not that crazy to think that he really did feel threatened. And in that sense, then it would just be an honest mistake. And it's like, yeah, sure, someone was shot. It's an honest mistake when someone was shot, but if we had some understanding and didn't get confused by the racial thing, then even that very sticky situation where you shot someone accidentally could be figured out, could be dealt with properly, with love, etc., with justice, the correct justice of whatever side it has to be. All that would be figured out. So many callers on this. Let me run through them. I got Maze, Dayton, Ohio. You're on the air, Maze. Go ahead.
Yes, Nick, I'm going to be quick and short.
Okay.
Now, that man,
Hit me.
the first caller you had, he's messed up. He don't
Why do you
want
say
us
that?
to have the right to have nothing. He said since the 60s, we shouldn't have had the right to be free or have to speak.
He didn't say
was
that.
his problem. Yes, he said that.
Oh, he said
So he's
that?
just like the one that shot. Yes.
What did he
The
say?
white
Because
girl
I
got
must have
shot.
missed it. What did he say?
Well, replay it. And the white girl that got shot in New York, she was shot by a white man, too. They took him to jail because he committed a crime. She turned around in the wrong driveway. She's dead, and they took him to jail.
I don't know
So he
which
will be going to
situation you're
prison.
talking about.
So let's look at it that way. But he got evil in his heart, and he hates because we got the right to speak in the
We
city.
don't know that.
So you have a good... Yes, and the place that we can find is black is right here in America where we were born. And tell them to think about all those towns that were destroyed by people look like him. That's why we don't have them anymore. So have a good one.
Maze, one last thing before you go. Do you have a problem with the word Negro? Oh. Maze had to run. Well, she's not running. She's had to go. Okay, I'm not gonna say she's running. I want to ask her if she had a problem with the term Negro. I don't have a problem with it. Anyways, I couldn't get into what she was saying at all. I don't know if that's what Mark said, that blacks shouldn't have rights. I don't know what I kind of missed it there, Maze, but I do appreciate your call. So many callers, like I said, people want to talk about this. Devon, I know this is Devon, right? From Nevada?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Hey, Nick.
Go ahead.
Oh, man, how you doing today, man?
Just fine. It's a pleasure. Thanks for calling my show.
It's so hilarious, man. I just got to a truck stop, and there's a guy over here with a sign. It's snowing outside, and this guy has a sign that says, God bless you, and hey, commies. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
Say the sign again. I missed the second part.
On one side, it says, God bless you, and then on the other side, it says, how you doing, commies? So
Okay.
I want to go ask the guy what's going on, but I thought it was pretty hilarious.
He's making a statement for sure. I like it though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but I'm over here in Nevada right now. But no, I just wanted to chime in because
Please.
One of the callers, he seemed like he was a little, I don't know. He seemed like I understand people get frustrated and stuff, and they get real about things instead of just focusing in on themselves, and they don't realize that a lot of the stuff that's put out there is for confusion and to get people all riled up, and they don't take the time.
Come back to your
just
phone.
look
Help
on
us. I think your phone sounds a little funny. Come back to your phone.
Oh.
So, are you talking about Mark?
Can you hear me? My bad. No, my bad. My truck.
Okay.
My truck. The Bluetooth connect back. I'm
It's
sorry.
no
I cut it
problem.
off.
But are you talking
Can you
about
hear me clear?
the call? I can hear you now. Thanks. Are you talking about that caller, Mark?
Yeah, he just seems like he's not, he's already made his decision on everything. He's already made his ideas on everything. So whether or not more information comes out, it could change, it could change what occurred. I've read some information. I've seen certain articles about it. It seems like, this guy, I don't know, it seems like a bright student or whatever, I don't know, top of his class or whatever they might have said, but, I don't know. At the end of the day, I started thinking, like, why did he drive to the house by himself? It's like 10 o'clock at night. He's 16 years old. Why is he going there to pick up his siblings by himself? Why his mother couldn't go with him? I don't know if his father's at the home. It just didn't really make any sense why he's by himself.
I don't know. Multitude of reasons. I've had to pick up cousins. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, for him to go to the wrong house, they don't have cell phones. He can't call nobody. In this day and age, everybody has a cell phone. You have a phone to call somebody. It doesn't seem like a rural area where, I heard another story of I guess it was two college girls. They went to the wrong house. They pulled into the driveway. They got shot, and they just drove off. And they didn't have any cell phone service, so they couldn't call the police or whatever they were trying to do. And by the time they could get in contact with somebody to help, one of their friends was dead.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was the story that Mays was talking about. But there's also another occurrence that just occurred, I think, today. 2 cheerleaders, one was white, one is mixed. They are at a store or something. I guess they hop into a car. It's the wrong car. The guy shoots both of them. So there's a lot of fear out there, and people are pushing this fear on people. And then if people aren't close to God and they have this fear, they're automatically going to react with the devil's thought process. So if that
that's a good
occurs,
point, man.
they're going to react immediately without. I mean, how simple it is for if somebody gets in your car. I Uber drove and had wrong people get in my car. I said, hey, are you going here? No, you're the wrong person. Okay, I'm sorry, you're going to have to get out of my car.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. But if you're not trying to be close to God and your reactions are with anger or frustration, or you're already emotional about whatever other situation may have occurred yesterday or weeks before or months, or you're still holding on to things, and they're not, if they don't never let go, these occurrences are just going to always happen because people are reacting in fear.
I really like what you said about just operating with the devil's mindset. If you're operating out of fear, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do what the devil tells you. But real quick here, Devon, since I got you, on this situation with the Andrew Lester thing and all that in Missouri, you saw my reporting on it. Maybe you see more on it. What do you think about, I guess I'll ask you, like, would you call it murder or attempted murder, like they're trying to say?
Well, personally, with that situation, I've been a delivery person. I've been to random people's homes in rural areas, and and I'm black, and I've had occurrences where, you walk up to a door, you're going to try to call the number before you go to the door. You're going to, do certain things a certain way. I've had people get mad. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong house, and I just walk off or whatever. I'm a delivery driver. I explain myself.
Right.
So, but if somebody shoots somebody, that's the thing. Okay, if somebody attempts to come into your home, I'm not sure what the law is there in that city where it occurred. But if somebody's attempting to, if he grabbed the door handle and tried to, I don't know if it's a glass. I guess they have a glass door and then a regular door.
That's what the criminal complaint said. There was a glass door that he shot through.
Okay, then. So if the doorbell is the doorbell, I'm guessing the doorbell would be on the outside of the door, so he doesn't have to grab the glass door to ring the doorbell. That's one thing that I would ask. Because when you go to court, this is one thing. When you go to court, they look at every detailed thing. They're not just looking at what feelings and emotions. It's just what occurred, what happened. It's not about how you feel about it, and that's what a lot of people do. But for me personally, it's kind of 50-50 because the guy was fearful, but the kid, he's a teenager. He comes up to the door, whether he's Chinese, black, Hispanic, Indian, whatever he is. Most people don't react to people that just walk up to the door and just shoot them.
But what is murder? What is murder, though? Is it murder? Is it murder? Okay, I'm going to kill this person. I'm thinking about this person. I know I'm going to kill them. I'm premeditating. You know what I'm saying? Like murder has certain requirements. It means something. Words still matter. And that's what they're trying to say about this guy. And I don't know.
Well, the second shot, I think the second shot will be considered murder, man. Because the first shot, well, for me, I'm just saying he shot the guy. I'm guessing the first shot was to the head. Or was it? I don't remember which shot was first. But if you shoot somebody in the head, they fall down, and you go after them and shoot them again, that's what I would think.
It couldn't just be
murder.
For good measure? You know what I'm saying? You protect yourself for good measure. I would not. Look, I've never understood the whole, you shot too many times. A threat is a threat. You shoot them until they're not a threat.
There was another video of somebody robbing people, right? He came inside of a restaurant and was taking everybody's money.
Right.
The guy shot him
I remember
a couple
that.
times.
In Texas.
And then he got over him and stood over him and shot him in his head. So that's where, I think that's where the level of but that guy had a gun on him. It was a different scenario, whatever,
Yeah,
but
I got to say, I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just if he shoots a couple times and then, closes his door and calls 911 or whatever, right? Then I don't think that's murder. But if he shot him multiple times, then goes out the door and then stands over him and, just continues shooting. But I just don't understand how the guy, the young dude got up and went to a couple of houses. It's just
you went to
crazy.
A few houses?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the reports that I've seen, that he went to several houses before he could get help. So.
Oh, so after he got shot, the Ralph Yarl went to different houses?
Yeah, and nobody would help him or something like that. And I think that's where some people are trying to rile it up and say, oh, these people are racist. They didn't want to help him because he's black or whatever. So that's where people are going to use this stuff and get people egged up and get people all riled up, but they're not talking about the 2 white girls that got shot in the driveway. And they're not probably going to talk about the cheerleaders that just got shot.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about it, but they're not going to be protesting. Nobody's going to be fighting. Protesting the Chicago kids.
Yeah. If it's not going to fit a narrative, an agenda, or some kind of plan, they're not going to talk about it. Okay, there's only that's why they're talking about this one. It fits a purpose. It fits an agenda.
If I can just say one other thing, all other thing else I was going to say, hey, I'm a young black man. I live in America. I'm an American, a U.S. citizen. My father fought for this country, and ain't nobody in my family not begging for nothing. So, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? If some people can just let go of some things from the past and we can move on with our life, I'm right here next to this guy with, Mexican dude driving a semi-truck, has his daughter and his wife with him. He got his Kansas City hat on, cleaning his truck. He ain't worried about nobody. He's just out here hustling and working hard. So at the end of the day, if you work hard and you do what's right, you ain't going to have to worry about nothing else. There's always going to be something, but you ain't going to be worried about it, especially if you trust God.
Right on, man. I don't think you're wrong about that.
But I'm gonna let you get to your next callers, Nick.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to see that I'm happy. I'm excited about the American Anchor Baby show, man.
You like that? Right
yes,
on.
Sir.
Thank
I appreciate you, Nick.
No, I appreciate your call, Devon. I really do. Thank you.
Just keep grinding, man. Let's go. Grinding.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Everybody wants to talk about this. I think I got a few calls on a different topic here now. Please hold for me, Patrick and Clay. I'm about to get to you guys. But a lot's been brought up, okay? I mean, Devon there saying, I'm really asking him about the murder thing because, I feel like a few callers already, they commented on Mark, but they don't disagree with Mark. And they see that there is a attack on whites. They are trying to, make it a racial thing with the Andrew Lester thing. And you got to understand where Mark's coming from, because if they make it a racial thing, which they already are doing, then he won't get due process. He won't get justice, which is what's being talked about here. Okay, that's quite important. If Andrew Lester doesn't get it, it can happen to anyone. Okay, and I'm not saying anything you haven't heard. Okay, but you got to understand Mark here. It seems easy to just say, well, he's got anger in his heart. I don't know. But you got to understand the reality of the situation here. And that they're trying to destroy reality by making this situation racial. Anyways, kind of forgot what else I want to say about that. But anyways, yeah. You got to see, you can't, I don't think you can honestly look at the situation and just be able to say, yeah, it was even probably murder, because you just don't know. You don't know. The only thing we've seen is reports that he felt threatened, and if that's all we have, then it's very far from murder. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, great stuff, great callers. I'm gonna get to you, Patrick, here. You know what? Let me just do Patrick right away. Patrick from Denmark, you're on the air. Thanks for your call.
Hi, hello there, Nick. Thanks for taking my call.
For sure. Thank you for calling.
How are you doing?
Just fine, just fine. Getting the hang of things here in the studio. It's been cool. It's been fun.
I really wanted to visit your show earlier when it was just on Fridays.
Yes.
But that's a little bit too late for me. But
Oh, yeah.
I can make.
It's that would have been like, what time for you? 4 p.m. over there would be.
No, yeah, that's beyond my bedtime. That's
Yeah.
like 1 a.m. 1 a.m. our time.
Oh yeah,
here
that's
in
late.
Europe.
Yeah, I thought this
So,
noon timing would be better
Yeah,
for
man.
people. It's also nice to come on soon after Hake, kind of keep it rolling, one after the other kind of thing.
It's very interesting that you have so many shows on this radio network going on right now.
It's growing, huh? It's really happening. The Bond Network. Let's go.
So, do you mind if I put you on the hot seat?
Lay it on me.
All right. So, first of all, just right quick, do you think that this situation with Ralph Yarl and those is it a spiritual battle?
Oh yeah, big time.
Right.
It for sure is. You see it in how people lie about it, how people feel about it, how people react about it. For me, to me is the most interesting thing. There's the case itself, and then there's the reactions, and that's really
Absolutely. I would definitely
that's
got
got to
the
be the
reaction.
point right there. If there's anything that my show is trying to point out, that Bond Network's trying to point out, it's people's reactions.
Right. And what does it mean for you to be a Christian?
Oh, what does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean for me? Well, for me, it just means to just pay attention to myself and how much can I let go? For me, that's what it's really been.
Oh, that's great.
That's really what it's been for me. Is how much am I willing to let go? And that sounds nice. I'm sitting here in this chair in the studio, and it sounds all nice and holy. But you guys don't know me. You guys don't see my life. You guys don't really know me. And it's not that easy. It's not that easy. I want to be this. I want to let go, and then there's the reality, and it's been a very interesting journey. I almost don't want to say that. It sounds lame, but it really has been. So
very
that's for
good.
me. That's for me what it
convinced
is. Is how much I can let go. If I can
Yeah,
distill
no,
it,
you just-
I can go on and on. But anyways, go ahead.
You just conveyed your message to the audience. I
Thank
think
you.
they heard it. I definitely did. And what's your plan with this show?
What is the mission statement of the American Anchor Baby Show?
Yeah, that.
I want to retroactively deny all citizenships that were given out by the 14th Amendment.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
I'm not against that. That would be kind of cool. I don't know how it would go about, but what is the actual? I'm kind of playing around. I'm not sure. Really, the show is just. I'm just expressing life as I see it.
The mission is to reprimand the 13-something. Can you repeat it?
I said kind of jokingly, but I do kind of agree, is to retroactively remove all the citizenships that were given out by the 14th Amendment. Because because you may not know this,
I got it.
from Denmark, I'm an American citizen.
That's amazing, though.
But I'm an American citizen because I was born here. My parents were illegal aliens, okay?
I hear you.
I shouldn't technically have one of those. And a lot of
And it's all
people
the
come
same over
here
here.
and they have babies, they call them anchor babies, and they become citizens, and they become haters of America.
Yeah.
Is it the 14th Amendment?
That's true.
I hope I'm right
You're
about
from Mexico?
that. No, I'm from Canada.
Oh, that's Canada. All right.
I was born in America. My family is Colombian. They're actually
I
Colombian.
was never sure whether if you're Hassan or if you're Nick, because you can, both of you look sort of Middle Eastern or Mexican. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, we have that. I've gotten
looking
that a
on the
lot.
street.
I get that Middle Eastern. I get Middle Eastern a lot.
Right, man. Well, I think I have one or two more questions. Elon Musk, what is your take on him? Is he a smart man?
Hey, Elon Musk makes sense to me. He seems to be a real person. And what I mean by that is like, he doesn't seem to just go. He doesn't seem to. I've never heard him or seen him say anything just to please someone. It seems like he talks about life the way he sees it. If he's in a room with Christians, He won't say, well, yeah, well, Christianity seems, oh, well, Jesus. No, he says, well, no, I don't believe in that. It seems nice, but I would like to just see it I'd like to see it if it's real for myself. He seems like a real person, and I appreciate that about him.
All right. That's a great answer.
And if you're a real person, you can't deny what's happening to the country, and I think to some certain extent he sees that. That's why he bought Twitter. That's why he's warning about AI, etc.
I think we will see a lot of things to him, and I think a lot of things will reveal about him. That's what I would say. I think my last question for you it is that, do you have anger?
Oh, yeah, I think I do. I've had some.
Oh, really?
I've had a suspicion. Yeah, I mean, just out of pure honesty here, out of revealing.
No, that's good to be honest.
You know, but you know, I think I do. I think I do.
When was the last time you became angry?
Last week.
Let's do it. Last week. All right.
But I try not too much to make that kind of judgment on myself either, because think about it like this. If you never looked for a division, there would never be one. You know what I'm saying? I think about I think about myself when I was young, like much younger, before I ever thought about anything like anger or the spirit or anything like that. And I was fine. I was just fine because I never had the question.
Oh, that's
you know what I'm saying? I never, and this is something,
I
heard this, I'm kind of repeating this, but I never had the question of, well, am I good or bad? I didn't have the question of, do I have anger or do I not have anger? And when I didn't have that question, it didn't exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
So I'm trying to, now, at this point in my life, I'm trying to overcome the question itself. Because the question itself seems to bring about a division that may not have been there in the first place. Am I making sense here?
That's like if you're growing up and either you don't see the division, but it reveals to you later on. I think that's what I'm gathering here.
I'm just saying that if you never asked yourself, well, am I good or bad, then you would never worry about that or be good or bad.
Yeah.
You would just be.
No, I didn't realize that I was a divided person before it was made apparent to me. And even then, it's like, was I ever a divided person in reality? Or is reality just playing a trick on me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I know what you mean.
And I mean, I'm very thankful for whatever I'm experiencing, because I could have gotten stuck in it and then cling to a reality that was never me at all. And that's the issue, right? I mean, I would love to go on. I had such an interesting conversation today, but I think you need to go on with your show, man. I think you're doing good at it. No problem,
Patrick. Call me again for sure.
I'll do that.
Thank you,
sir.
All
right, man. See you.
Take care. Appreciate your call. Awesome. Great calls, everybody. Thank you for bringing all you're bringing to the show. It's a pleasure. It's an honor, is what I'm trying to say here. I've got a super chat from Madi Ubaldo. Thank you for your support, Madi. I hope everything's going well with you. And Justin Barnett says, if the man says he had fear, proves he has anger. Interesting thought. Interesting statement. Don't operate in fear. You'll just do Nick's bidding. What shall we do here? It feels like the show's over to me. And I think it is. I did have this thing on this sex expert. I know there's some people who don't say that, even the S word. But maybe I got to think about how to better report on this one, maybe more carefully. So tune in tomorrow for that and more. Thank you for watching. I am the American Anchor Baby. Thank you for watching my show. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and be here tomorrow at 12 for a fun Thursday show. Again, that's the show. Appreciate y'all. And take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Follow us everything we do here at Bond. We got shows coming up. It's cool what's happening with the network. SEXPERTS. People are saying in the chat. That's funny. All right, y'all. Take care. Appreciate it.